Dudes, what is happening? I want to thank you for your patience as I've been trying to get this video together for you to offer you these poses that we talked about in our Yoga for Dudes event. And once again, to also thank you so much for joining me for that event. It was really great having each and every one of you, and I really do hope that you got something out of it. And I hope that you come back to yoga and you are able to find a practice that works for you and hopefully make it consistent and get out of the practice what you need to. I've certainly found lots of great benefits from doing it. So as I promised, here are a few poses that you can do throughout the week. Again, you can link these poses together if you want to. You don't have to. You could do them individually. You could take one pose and do one of these poses, each day throughout the week, vary them up however you want. Hold the pose for a few minutes or a few breaths, whatever you have time for. But here they are in no particular order, so here we go. The first one in Sanskrit is called Sukhasana. It is basically an easy cross-legged seated position on the front of your mat here. And again, I talked in class about having your hips parallel with your knees. If they're not, you end up being hunched down like this, and that's not a great way to sit. Your shoulders are rounded, not so good. So see if you can sit up on a blanket, a couple of towels, a bolster if you have it, maybe even a meditation cushion. And basically, the more you sit in this pose, the more your inner thighs begin to relax and you become comfortable in this pose. So some people do it differently. You can have the shins further out front. You can tuck them in. You can cross a foot over. I'm not that flexible. I'm like you guys, so I just try to find an even spot with my shins, sitting up nice and tall. I kind of sit forward on my sit bones. That's important as well because that helps you find sort of a neutral spine position. So this would be a meditation position. This would be, a lot of classes start with this position and basically close down the eyes, steady the breath, breathing in and out through the nose. Notice if you're sitting a little forward in the pose or you tend to lean back. You want to try to find a nice neutral spine, keeping the spine lengthening and growing as you lift through the crown of the head toward the ceiling. You're not straining to get there. You're just finding a nice gentle lift. Your heart center is lifted and open. Hands can be either palm down on the knees, interlace the fingers in front of you, whatever feels most comfortable. And your head and neck just float above the shoulders here, tucking the chin just slightly toward the chest. And notice if you have tightness in your inner thighs here. The more you do this pose throughout the week, the more you get comfortable sitting like this. Even if you sat like this in the evenings for 5, 10, 15 minutes, watching television, reading, whatever it is, this will really start to open up your hips and help a lot. The next little variation on this would be to cross the opposite shin in front and just notice how that feels, having the other shin in front and what that does to your hip as well. So the other thing you can do here from Sukhasana is just steadily breathe with your eyes closed down if that feels comfortable to you or not. You don't have to have them closed down. Just find the rhythm of your breath, inhaling and exhaling through the nose. And the next thing you can do here is inhale the arms up, reaching through the fingertips. Exhale, folding forward, again, reaching with the fingertips. Now, you may have a tendency to collapse the back, round the shoulders, and come down in here. I'm looking for leading with the chest, keeping the chin up, then letting the fingertips come down to the ground. As you lift the heart, see that subtle lift right there? Then tuck the chin to the chest. And breathe. If you do this at the end of a day for a few minutes, I promise you will feel some benefit. Once you exhale to come out, use the hands to press yourself back up, sitting up nice and tall. You could do 5, 10 deep breaths in this position, Stretch out the legs, gentle bounce of the knees, recross with the opposite shin in front. Find your neutral spine again. Inhale the arms up. Exhale. Fold forward again. Lift with the chest, then tuck the chin. And you're most likely going to notice that one side feels better than the other because you're used to favoring one side. That's okay. Don't judge it. Don't shy away from it. Just be there, breathe through it, and you will feel the benefits. And again, at the end of the exhale, use your hands to press yourself back up. I'm telling you, if you did both sides, 5 minutes each side at the end of each day, particularly if you sit or you drive a lot, you're going to notice a lot of benefit right in through here. On each exhale, draw the belly, draw the navel toward the spine, the belly button toward the spine. Really engage the core. Nice stuff. All right, next one up is my favorite, the 90-90 pose. So what you do is you bring the sole, let's start with the sole of my left foot here, okay? So the sole of my left foot comes to the inner right thigh. And actually I'll spin it around so that this camera can see it better to start. So the sole of my right foot comes to the inner left thigh. My left foot is tucked behind me, almost as if I was a hurdler, okay? A hurdler? You know, someone doing hurdles. Okay. Spreading the sit bones. You're going to sit up nice and tall, squaring the shoulders with the front of the room or the front of the mat. Big breath in, exhale, walk the hands out in front of you as far as you can without overdoing it. Tuck the chin to the chest. And breathe. And again, you can hang out here for a few minutes as well. You can hang out as long as you want. You can measure it by breaths. You can do it by minutes, whatever you'd like. But you really want your shoulders square, because if you're here, you're not really getting it. If you get this arm forward, tucking the chin to the chest, you want to find length in the back, length through the spine, through the crown of the head. And through each of these poses, notice where you may be holding tension. Sometimes it's in the face, sometimes it's in the eyebrows, squeezing the eyes or the eyebrows together. As you exhale, find those spots, send a message there to release and let go. So that's the first part of the pose. Exhale, walk the hands out this way. At the end of your exhale, use the hands to press yourself up. Inhale the arms up halfway out to the sides, and exhale and rotate. If my right knee is in front, I'm going to rotate to the left, okay? I'm going to place my right hand on top of my left thigh, left hand behind, using the fingertips to help push me up, and I'm going to turn the gaze gently to the wall behind me. Taking a few breaths here as well. Again, I'm lifting through the crown of the head. I'm not overdoing it, particularly if this is one of the first twists in my practice for the day. You don't want to overdo it. You're simply warming up the body. All right? And again, at the end of each exhale, drawing the navel in toward the spine. And at the end of your exhale, go ahead and release. I like to use my hand here to help that knee around and basically spin around. Do the other side. Okay, so for this side, if it's my left leg that's going to be in front, my left knee, that means the sole of my left foot comes to the inner right thigh. Right foot is tucked behind me at 90 degrees. I've got 90 here, hence the name 90-90. Squaring the shoulders again, big breath in, exhale, walk the hands out in front, tucking the chin to the chest. And breathing, okay? At the end of the exhale, use the hands to press yourself up. Inhale the arms up halfway. Exhale, rotate to the right. Gentle twist, opposite side. All right? The 90-90. Fantastic pose. Fantastic pose, man. It's one of my favorites. So we've got Sukhasana, our easy seated position. We've got the 90-90. Next up, we've got our child's pose. All right, this is a resting pose. It's even though people use it as a resting pose, it is quite active, particularly if you are tight in the back or the inner thighs. So you're gonna bring your knees as wide as the mat, and you're gonna bring your big toes together in the middle of the mat. All right? And basically, you're gonna walk the hands out in front of you, bringing the forearms down and the forehead to the floor. Breathing deeply, releasing the inner thighs. And the goal here is to, again, find length, find release in the inner thighs so that you can begin to lower your sit bones toward the heels. All right? So my arms are stretched out. Deep breaths. Child's pose. If you find yourself in a class that seems to be ahead of where you are level-wise and you're out of breath and you need to just bring it down for a minute, child's pose is an awesome, awesome pose to do that. It lowers the blood pressure, relaxes you. It's a great pose to start the day with or to end the day with in particular, okay? So child's pose, great one. To come out, just simply walk yourself back up and you are out of child's pose. Let's move on to the last couple. Next pose is downward facing dog, a classic yoga pose. In pretty much every class you're gonna take, there will be a downward facing dog. So it's another full body stretch, a great one to lower blood pressure and lower anxiety and whatnot. So a really good pose to get to know. Downward facing dog. You can start on all fours, stacking the shoulders above the wrists, knees above the hips, and your hips should be about 2 fist widths apart. From here, you can walk your knees back about 6 inches, all right? Tuck the toes under. Inhale, lift the knees and the hips. Exhale, press back, pressing out of the shoulders into downward facing dog. Relaxing the head and the back of the neck so the crown of the head falls toward the floor. Bicycling the feet feels great. It also helps just break yourself into the pose here. You can bend the knees deeply, both knees deeply, then begin to slowly straighten. Sending your hips back to the wall behind you, pressing out of the shoulder blades, finding length again in the spine. Yoga is all about finding length, right? So with each exhale, that's what you're trying to do, finding length from the tailbone through the length of the spine, out of the crown of the head. So once again, pressing back into downward facing dog. Deep breaths here. If you're not ready to straighten your legs, that's okay. Straighten them and then back off just a little bit so they're bent just a touch. And in down dog, you want firm pressure through both palms, all 10 fingers. Both palms fully on the mat. A lot of people kind of creep up like this, and that puts a lot of torque in your wrist area, and you can certainly come away with some injuries. So pressing firmly, particularly in this part of the hand, right? So right in here, you want that really pressing down, and you want this crease in your elbow coming right between this spot, between your thumb and forefinger, right? You can see I kind of spin my elbows like this. So as I get ready, pressing the mat away into downward facing dog. And you can open the hands, the fingers away from each other to help accentuate that. Downward facing dog. All right, let's move on, man. All right, gentlemen, last one. Here we go. Standing forward fold, a fantastic release for the low back you got to do this one at least once a day, if not a few times a week. So, feet are parallel, stacked under the hips, stacked under the knees, okay? Slight bend in the knees, not a real big bend. I would straighten them all the way and then back off just a little bit so you have a slight bend in the knees. Draw the pelvis up. It's a slight adjustment which tucks the tailbone down. From here, lift the toes off the ground, spread the toes wide, and then place them back onto the mat. This is what we call Tadasana or mountain pose, right? Much like our seated Sukhasana, easy cross-legged position. We're lifting through the spine, shoulders are relaxed, rolling back onto the spine. From here, if I don't blind myself with this light, from here, you're going to inhale the arms up all the way, reaching, pressing the ground away with the feet as you reach up with the fingertips. Exhale, draw the navel in toward the spine, fold forward. Releasing the crown of the head toward the floor. Inhale, come halfway up. Hands to shins or knees, nice flat back. Again, lengthening through the spine, through the crown of the head, and then exhale, forward fold. Hanging in forward fold. If you want, you can do what's called the half sun salutation, which is basically the forward fold. Inhale halfway up. You're in forward fold. You inhale, begin to press the mat away, rolling back up through the spine, raising the arms up as you do, lifting the head and the gaze toward the ceiling. Exhale the hands to heart center. So the half sun salutation is a great warm-up for the day. It's also a great cool down at the end of the day, or if you're looking just to build some energy toward the middle of the day in your work day. Standing in Tadasana, inhale the arms up. Exhale, forward fold, hinging at the waist. Everything comes down, pouring it out. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rising all the way up. Exhale the hands to heart center. We'll do it again. It's inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, forward fold. Now you can stay in that forward fold if you want for a few deep breaths, or inhale, press the mat away, roll up through the spine, bringing the hands together at your heart center and opening the hands to stand in mountain pose. That's it. Those are the poses that I wanted to leave you guys with. Again, I apologize. It took a while to get this video done for you, but busy dudes. We're all busy dudes. Thank you very much. If you've got any questions, feel free to email me. You know how to find me. I'd love to see you again in class. Thank you. Thank you. Good luck. Keep practicing and keep breathing.